How did you get started with art?
Oh, well, I started painting about 2020 on furlough in the middle of the pandemic. I was on furlough from being a nurse. They were trying to decide whether they wanted to keep us or X us out because, they were trying to put out the loans and whatnot with the hospital. So I had to sit at the house and I didn't know whether I had a job.
Hey, welcome back to Verbal Tea, the journaling podcast where we focus more on our inner voices than the voices of those around us. We've got a little teaspoon for you guys, and you're going to want to tune in for this because we're getting raw and vulnerable as always. I'm Globe.
And I'm SheRa,
and this is Verbal Tea. I'm so excited to get into a little teaspoon. So at the end of every month, we like to recap the month and we like to challenge ourselves to voice our journal entries and what we wrote about this month along with our guests. And this month we covered freedom.
I feel free.
But you cannot free yourself until you free your mind. So SheRa and I, we covered our inner child, what our inner child needs to learn and unlearn. I don't know about you, SheRa, but this was an eye-opening thing for me.
Yeah, it was definitely something that I did not, I wasn't prepared to write about, but when I was writing, I was like, oh, I still got work to do. Okay. Yeah.
I know, it's because we're so both focused. If you guys don't know, SheRa has her own podcast as well called the Blemish Beauty Podcast. So we're both focused on mental health and doing that inner work. But it's so crazy how a new prompt will just unleash all of these other layers.
Exactly. Like that prompt was just like, I thought it was going to be easy. And then as I'm writing, I'm like, okay, no, it's not. I got to do some digging.
Oh man, me too. I thought it was going to be easy and it wasn't. I was like, dang, I'm not where I want to be yet. But I mean, if you are where you want to be, you might be a little delusional, maybe.
Right. And then it tells you like, you're not where you want to be, but you're not where you were either. So it's like, okay, I can maneuver. I'm good.
Right. Because some of the things I was like, oh, I didn't really know that about myself. I thought this was a healthy thing, but actually. Cool. Well, what was the most surprising thing that you discovered when you wrote?
What I needed to, let me see. Unlearn what I needed to unlearn. Well, both of them actually, to be honest, they both had a equal level of like what I needed to unlearn and what I needed to relearn. And it's amazing how so much stems from your inner child that you don't know, and then until you write it down or you say it out loud, it's like, oh, wow, okay, that's who's reacting to this, not me. Okay, let me combat that and come about it another way.
I like that. I would say the most surprising thing is that I think it's healthy that I'm critical. I think it's very healthy that I'm always looking for a way to grow. But when I started writing down what I need to work on for my inner child, it was like I could see my little self just always discounting myself. And I remember a quote in my head from my father, like it triggered that memory of where I got it from. No shade to dad, okay? He meant it in the most complimentary way, but he told me that I wasn't I put it in here. He told me that I wasn't like naturally made to do anything, but that anything I put my mind to, I excel at it. And so like my talent is just learning skills. Like I'm not naturally inclined for any skill. And so because of that, what?
That's a compliment.
Yeah, he meant it as a compliment. But for me, everything I do, I feel like it's not good enough because it's like I don't have that innate natural ability. So
Right.
I always feel mediocre.
Everybody has that one thing, and you have whatever you put your mind to. So it's like, I don't have that one target thing that I'm good at. Okay. But shout out to Papa Mac.
Shout out to Papa Mac. He meant it in the best way because he just kept seeing me do different things. He saw me do basketball, track, acting, really blew his mind. And he's just like, you know what?
You could do it all. Like, that's what's up.
I guess it's just like, have you heard of the jack of all trades, master of none?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Because 14-year-old me, those words are like just like burned on me.
But that's good though. So then you won't get bored because you have the ability to do certain things. And then that probably showed up now that you're older. Those things that you were good at, that helps you tap into dealing with the kids. Like you play basketball, you did this, you did track, you were running, so at least you're not boring. Like, your co-host over here. I'm not doing that.
You are far from boring. You have a very full, exciting life. You are in school, you work, you mommy, you podcast, multiple podcasts. Your personality is so big, everybody wants you. And then also our life coach, like,
Yeah, life is full. Life is full. When you put it like that, it's full. It's definitely full.
perspective for sure. So what is one big thing that your inner child needs to unlearn?
Okay, so let me see what I wrote here. So I said, in regards to unlearning, everyone is not going to hurt you. So for me, I have to unlearn that because, growing up, dealing with so much trauma, usually the most trauma we feel is by the people that we love the most.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, that allowed me to lose faith in people, if I'm, being honest. But I feel like now it's okay to let my guard down. Before, when I got to the point where I wanted to let my guard down, somebody showed me like, nope, told you. That's why you can't do that. But now that I'm surrounded by a good group of people, I don't know if it's because I'm in the process of still doing my healing journey. So when your eyes are kind of different, you see different. So when you're starting to heal, you're looking at things in a different way, like we talked about with Nikki, with the freedom thing, with the freedom aspect. I can pick better. So maybe that's why. So now I am in a position where I can be more open to trusting people that they're not going to hurt me. Maybe there's a lesson behind this instead of looking at it as a vindictive type of reaction, like they did that on purpose. No, maybe it's just a lesson. Everything is not for everybody. You were meant to be this example for whatever reason to them.
Yes,
not so much of what they've done to you,
I like that. I definitely had a phase like that where I grew up being the bubbliest kid because I thought, being a light to the world, Jesus things, that was how it was. And then my heart got crushed by a friend in college and I trusted no one because everyone on the floor, it's so dumb. Everyone on the floor in the college dorm knew of the betrayal. So that made me really close myself off because it was like a whole community that was supposed to be my friend and I'm buying them meals. We're having meals together. We're doing things together. And nobody told me this was happening to me. And so I was like, everybody's out to get me,
Right.
Nobody really likes me. Everybody just wants to use me. I had that perspective. But as I started to heal myself, I started to recognize even why the takers were takers,
Yeah.
You don't take it so personally anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's more so about you and less about them.
Exactly.
You're meant to be a blessing to them and not so much them being a blessing to you.
That part. And so I don't regret anything that I give now. I'm like, I was meant to give that. I was doing the best I can, just like they were doing the best they could. And that's that.
Exactly. Yep. I totally agree.
I love that. But it is still hard. I do still get a little cynical. Just a little bit.
But the response time, like I was telling somebody this the other day, I'm always going to be triggered, right? but the response time of me being in it and out of it has shortened. So where it would take me maybe a week to get over something, now it might take me a day. Maybe as I continue to grow, it might take me an hour. So you're always going to be triggered by something. And that's the thing that people don't understand. Healing is never 100%. Like you're constantly healing, you're constantly evolving. But the response time, that's going to be the change. You're going to be able to, recognize, okay, this is my inner child. This is not me responding in this moment. So what do? I need to ground myself. Okay, I need to affirm myself, tell myself, this is not vindictive. This is not, something that people are doing to try to hurt me. Like you said, like maybe this is just, we're just not aligned in this way. Okay, move on. They're not a bad person. They're just not my person, or they're just not for me.
Yes. Once you start healing yourself and you're doing it, aggressively, you start to recognize the holes in other people and you're like, "Oh, okay." And so some people think I'm being nice and I'm not being nice. The fairest thing to myself is to assess a person with perspective, because if I don't, then I'm taking it personally and I'm eating shame and I'm carrying all that. Having that
Exactly.
perspective frees you.
Yeah, exactly. Like Mahogany said on one of our roundtables, it's a mahogany thing. So you got to learn what are your things as opposed to this person is really this way. No, this is your thing. This is how you're seeing it. So it definitely, perspective is definitely everything.
Yeah. And also, that's something that we all can do. And I've been working on that. And I think it's very beneficial with my relationship with my children and my husband and my friends. I know who I am. And so if something feels away, I'm like, for me, not in general, for me. For me, this is my limitation. And so they don't have to even go through that whole process of being like, why not? And Kayla feels a way about me. I could just be like, it's me. And this is where it's
Yeah.
coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I like that, because that is definitely something I think everybody can relate to, is having a guard up. Like, oof. You'll forget exactly what was said, but you'll remember how it made you feel, and it just sticks there.
Yep, it will. Heavy.
Heavy. Cool. Well, yeah, see, I put on here, I was like, don't even get me started on podcasting, like how I feel like a
Yeah.
mediocre podcaster, mediocre dancer, mother, whatever it is. I feel like I'm applying what I've learned, but that I'm just not great. Like I'll never be great. And that is something that's in my inner voice as well, that I have to continue to combat with compassion.
Yeah, you got to give yourself grace because you're doing the best that you can. Even like, a lot of the times we have mommy issues, daddy issues. We have to understand that they were in survival mode.
Yes, they
So
were.
how we perceive it, they were just trying to survive. They was doing the best that they can, just like you. So you have to give them grace and you have to give yourself grace, because I'm pretty sure to your kids, you're not mediocre. You're way surpass mediocre, so you have to give yourself grace and to know that you're doing the best that you can and you're doing all that you can. And you're still learning, you're still evolving. It takes people years, like in a marriage, and you could attest to this because you're married. It takes people years to get to know each other. You're going to be married 30 years and you're still going to learn new things about your husband.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still going to learn new things about dance. You're still going to learn new things about, your kids and being a mom. And then with technology and new things that's out, you're always going to be learning and growing, but you're at the best place in the best space right now. So you're doing good.
You're so sweet. I'm trying. And that's what I say. I'm like, at least I am trying, but I'm trying to make myself feel like you can look forward and acknowledge room for growth without discounting yourself. And
Exactly.
that's what I have to constantly remind myself. Don't discount yourself while you're acknowledging room for growth.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that's doing worse off than you. At least you are around your kids. At least you are by your kids. You're loving on your kids. You have your kids. Like you have to not think about or focus on the negatives, but focus on the positives. You provide that space for your children to feel free to express themselves. You give them a home. not a house. So many children are displaced. They don't have that. They're looking for that, that love that you provide them. So even with your dancing, there's people that are in wheelchairs. They would love to do what you can do. You know what I mean? So you have to think about the positives and not so much the negatives because you're doing good.
See, you guys, this is why I love her. This is why. This is what she does for me every day. Oh, I love that. And yes, just get rid of the scarcity mindset. Because if you are always operating in the spirit and feeling of lack, you're just going to miss out on how to utilize the resources you have now.
Yeah, definitely.
Oof. It's like that picture. You know that meme? I know, I just had a oof moment. Do you know that meme where the guy is there's like a whole bunch of wood and some guy is just like really upset, about the wood because they're in a hole and he's just upset that there's just wood there. When another guy after time starts to build a ladder to get out of the hole.
Mindset is everything.
Everything. I think it
It's
was
just
wood.
it's another one too. The one I'm trying. There's so many. Like they have two with the girl. One is on one side, and she has this easy climb up, like it's like a beanstalk, let's say, and she has an easy climb up, but the reward is small at the top. And then on the other side, it's the girl who has to go through all the thorns, and as she's climbing, she's getting frustrated, and she's looking at the other person who has an easier climb up, but her reward is bigger. So it's all about, mindset and just running your race because what's for you is for you.
That part. And that's like what this year is teaching me. Like I am capable and what I have is what I'm meant to have. Like this is my path. I don't need to look left or right. I need to just keep looking forward for me and inside, of course.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, I did want to show people this because I said I would do it and I can't draw. So I don't know why I promised y'all that I would do this, but I did draw my inner voice. I drew my inner critic and my compassionate voice. And I suggest everybody do this, okay? Because I didn't even know I was going to end up drawing two people, first of all. So it's kind of like, I guess, like the devil and the angel
I
thing.
was just about to say,
Yeah.
it's just like the 90s shows where they have the two people on the side.
No, it really is. That's where it comes from. So, okay, you guys, I'm just going to show y'all real quick and then I'll just get to it. I can't draw, okay?
Girl, you do better than me. I'll do stick people.
I wanted to, but I wanted to get her clothes just a little bit.
And she has a fro like you. I love it.
I'm proud that both of them have a fro because I feel like 10 years ago, one would have had straight hair. So there's some growth there. So this is what the exercise was. So I made my inner critic. I drew her. And then I drew like some statements she said. And then I drew my compassionate voice. And my compassionate voice was responding to my inner critic. It's you guys, y'all got to do it and you get as detailed as possible. I wish I could draw better because this drawing's not as good. So on the back here are the details I couldn't really draw. So my inner critic, she has a planner in her hand and she's like, everything is your fault. I just put you need because that's like what she's always saying. Like you need to do this and all you have to do is this. And you're a lot and you're so emotional. So my inner critic she acknowledges the power I have. Like we can't lie about that now because that's where we're in our journey. We know that we're capable. But instead of her acknowledging it in a compassionate way, I just am like, you know better, so you should be doing this right now. So it's like shame, almost like a long roundabout way of calling myself lazy and that I'm not doing enough. So that's what my inner critic is always doing. Or my compassionate voice, which is really SheRa, at this point. And she's like, you can, but pace yourself. You have already done this, so you will get to it when you get to it. And then, of course, with me being emotional, it says you are honest with your feelings, which my goodness is so far. I've come so far with that. I have not always been honest about my feelings. And instead of saying that I'm a lot, there's so much to love about me, is what it says. So much more about you to love. But the fashion, y'all. If you guys do this, please draw an outfit. Imagine what your critic wears, and then just imagine what they wear. Don't even think about your compassionate voice. Then draw what your compassionate self wears. At least as a feminine presenting person, anybody that's feminine presenting, do this, because there is so much labor in how we present ourselves. Tell me why my compassionate voice has a t-shirt on. She has a t-shirt on with like
It's,
affirming words.
it's better than, okay, so as you're saying this, I got a visual. So as you're
Yes.
saying this, my critic or inner critic has on a pantsuit, and she's very business oriented, like the devil wears Prada
Yeah.
type of thing. She's that. And then what's the other one? The compassionate this side. She's like in Erica Badu gear. Like she got these long dreads, and she has these big pants, and like this nice little crop top, and she's just chilling. She's just zen, like nothing's bothering her, and she's just like, "You girl, you got this. You good." Like
Yes.
like yes, like she's.
See how different it is? See how
Yeah.
different? Mine has a long flowy skirt, so almost Erica Badu. And she has on waist beads I imagine I made myself. I'm like, oh my gosh. Where my critic, she has on what I feel comfortable in. Not what I feel like, what I feel comfortable in, just like presenting, not what's actually comfortable for me. I have on like a sweetheart short dress. But apparently I'm comfortable in a crop t-shirt and a long flowy skirt.
So my inner critic would be what the world would perceive, like their view of me, what a CEO looks like, what the professional side looks like, what success looks like, as opposed to the other side of me. This is happiness. This is the real what success looks like. You being unmovable, you being able to just be calm, and being able to exude femininity in the room, like just chill. So yeah, that's really good. I like that. See, I can't draw, but I can give you a visual.
See, I had to write down that I wanted her sitting down. My compassionate voice is sitting down, But yes, it's like you said, one is the perception of success, and the other is knowing you're already successful. Like, what would you look like if you were Steve Jobs and didn't have to worry about your outfit every day? What would you be wearing?
Chilling.
Exactly. That's your compassionate voice's outfit. Now I'm like, I want to dress like my compassionate voice.
Right. And I wonder if you do that, would that change your whole vibe? Like if you put those clothes on, you should try it. If you put those clothes on, how would you feel? Like, would that change your whole mood? And then if you put the other clothes on, would that make you antsy and apprehensive, do you think?
I think so, because I've actually been changing my relationship with my clothes. There used to be this thing about being an outfit repeater, and I'm like, I put on what I like, and I think it's a blessing since I've had so many body image issues. I think it's a blessing to have something I like so much that I'll wear it again. Yeah. And I know the green skirt that I was drawing here. Like, I have a green skirt like that, and I need more like that. I have a green one and a white one. I need to get one in every color. And my t-shirts, the t-shirt that I drew doesn't exist, but it's a shirt that says my will is stronger than my doubt. So that's officially going to be the first t-shirt, verbal t-shirt, because
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, because now I want to wear it. I want to see what it's like, because everything I wore in my compassionate voice were things I created or things that affirmed me. And I want to just do a challenge and try that for like a month and see what happens.
Yeah, I love that.
That's dope. This weekend, just like Erica Badu, let's see what happens.
Yeah, because I get off early, so I'm definitely gonna do that. I'm because you know what, when I do podcasts, little behind the scenes stuff. I like candles, and I
Mm.
have to have the smell. Like it's a certain aura in the room. Like if you there's no like there's just a ring light. There's no like overlight. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
really zen and mellow because I want to exude that in my episodes. I want to provide that safe space, like that sanctuary. So I try to set the room so it can come out on the microphone.
Oh, I like that. And I like how you present yourself is on your podcast is different than how you would at your job because this is your sacred space. I
Hmm.
I love it. Yes, so this weekend, let's get our Erica Badu on.
We're gonna have to do an episode. We're gonna have to do one with the other clothes, and then the other one in our Zen clothes.
Oh, I like that. That's a good idea. Okay, look at us. Look at us.
We're gonna fly.
Well, we didn't want to hold you guys too long, but we wanted to just be vulnerable and honest with you. Before we go, though, I guess we should do a something to sip on, should we?
Of course. Why
All
not?
right. Let me introduce our last segment, something to sip on. All right. So, are you going to go first or am I going to go first?
I'm gonna let you go first because it's gonna give me time to think.
All right. Okay, let me see. I think I wrote it down. So, my something to sip on is this. You don't have to write out your inner voice and your compassionate voice, but you should meditate on what it would look like if you were compassionate to yourself. I challenge you just to think of what you'd be wearing, how you would talk, how you would treat people, and what would a day in the life of your compassionate self will look like if you were to embody it completely. Daydream about it. You don't have to do it, but at least daydream about it and consider it. And I promise you, after you're done, it will convict you to want to walk in those shoes.
I love that. How do I follow that up?
It's not tea. It's like a to go to go tea.
Well, I would say take a week because sometimes a month is too long. Take a week and just live in the moment. Like, just learn how to show yourself grace and know that you're not going to do everything perfect, but at the same time, you're doing it. And that's all that matters. Surround yourself with people that pour back into you as much as you pour into them, and show up in spaces that make you feel whole and not drained.
Mm.
So I would say take that week, whether you start today or tomorrow, or even start of the week, Sunday or Monday, and get back to finding those things that make you happy. Whether that's journaling, it should be journaling, or coloring, or listening to music. Tap into the good side of your inner child. When you were a child, you didn't have any cares, you didn't have any worries, you just lived life.
Mhm.
So take that part of the inner child and just live life.
Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna do that. I already know I'm gonna get the bubble machine going. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yes, bubbles are always fun.
I love that. That was perfect. This has been a beautiful episode. It's so cool to do little teaspoons with an amazing person. Ah,
I love it. Oof.
oof. Before we go, though, we want to keep this party going on social media and our day to day. So I'm going to let SheRa say how she can stay in touch with you guys or how you guys can keep in touch with her.
Okay, you guys, you can stay in touch with me by tapping into the Blemish Beauty Podcast every Tuesday and Thursday. The audio drops at midnight, 12 Eastern Standard Time. And if I am doing the interview, they will be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and on YouTube.
Yes, and you guys want to tune into that, okay? Um, my 9 to 5 is not the best, but it keeps me lifted when I get to hear her episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
tune in. And as always, you can keep up with Verbal Tea at Verbal Tea Time on TikTok and Instagram, and then Verbal Tea on YouTube or anywhere you stream podcasts. Until next time, you guys, focus on thriving instead of surviving. Be intentional with your thoughts and be well.